Hello everyone, this is Abhilasha Trivedi with the new episode of the podcast Knowing Universe. And today's podcast name is God's Particle. Interesting. But before I start my podcast, the details, I have to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart with your excellent support and which motivates me to continue my work. Thank you one more time. All right, so God's particle. So what is God's particle and what is God word doing in physics, in astronomy? Not much. God is about faith. God word is about faith. So the scientists, they had a faith, there is something in the universe which is giving the mass to everything. So far what we have understood is the universe has different type of matter. Matter is made of particle. Particle has definitely mass. Now the question is from where this mass is coming from. Is there someone is fitting it? But before that, let me explain you what is mass. Mass is basically the number of particles in an object. Now that particle word can be molecule, atom, ion, anything. Okay, so number. That number can be more, that number can be less. In very simple way, a mass without mass, anything, is very hard to comprehend, and that is definitely not considered to be matter. And that's why, my dear audience, the light, which is the basic unit of light is photon, but photon does not have any mass. Isn't it very, very interesting? On the other hand, everything around us has mass. So the scientists, they had a faith for a very long time till it was proved that there is something which gives the mass to everything. And later on it was confirmed in 2013, but it was proposed in 1964 that there is a field, that in which fills everything in the universe with mass. That was the first time. But in science it doesn't work like that. Then I decided to say something, hello people, and this is what we know about this thing, and everyone will accept it. No, the peer acceptance is extremely important in science. You propose something, that's very good, but it is not theory till everyone or a lot of people, a lot of scientists approve of it, and it is published in journals. So it took a really long time to prove that actually Higgs field exists. And later on in 2013, it was acknowledged and it was just not a simple acknowledgement. It was a Nobel Prize. What could be better? Yeah. So the Higgs boson is the fundamental particle which is associated with the Higgs field, and now it is understood that it is the field which gives mass to the fundamental particles such as electrons and quarks. New name today, quarks. Yes, quirky as it sounds, but it's a thing. Quarks. I will try my best to explain. I am very sure, electron, proton, neutron, I have said so many times, everyone knows that, right? That each and every atom is made up of 3 subatomic particles, proton, neutron, and electron. So proton and neutron, they are inside the nucleus, and the electron just keeps revolving around the nucleus. Now today is a new word which is quarks. Now what is that? Quarks, and there is one more name, gluons, which is sounds like glue. That's how you can remember it. Quirky quark and gluey gluon. The real names are quarks and gluons, guys. And they are the building blocks. Okay, so far we knew that atoms are only built off from proton, neutron, electron. Now we have the building blocks for protons and neutrons. Okay, so we can definitely say that, right? These are the two things which are basically building the nuclei, right? So now, so far, we are sure, the scientists are sure. I don't know what will happen tomorrow. Every day we are making progress. But today we can say that quarks and gluons, we cannot divide them. I would say just yet, okay? Just yet we cannot divide quarks and gluons, which are basically the building block of the protons and neutrons. Protons and neutrons are the subatomic particles, the particles which are found inside the atom, the nuclei of the atom. An atom is something which makes the matter. Okay, so that is what the quarks are. Now I have already talked about that these are the fundamental particles and they get the mass from the Higgs field. Isn't it so amazing? Now we are going deeper and deeper into the reality of the universe, that how exactly it has formed. I can just tell you what I know, it has been established so far. I must tell you one thing, that science, why I love science is because every day we have a new development and a new interesting information, new puzzle, and you can keep thinking. You can actually maybe, as I have told you in my first episode, I don't know who I'm talking to. Maybe you also know something and you can share with me on my email address, abhilashapodcast@gmail.com. So let's continue. The particles, what we know so far, like the table and the chair and the mic and the camera and the laptop, everything around you, the water in the glass and everything, whatever you think of, the particle is that particle comes from standard theory. In most of the part. Why standard? Because we understand them and we have a periodic table to explain that how they are arranged and how do we extract, and we have a reactivity series. We use them like iron, aluminum, zinc, copper, everything, right? So that is called as standard theory. Now the particles what I'm talking about, the further more fundamental particles, they are very interesting, because so far we have not been able to break down them further. They have just not the charges, the positive and electric charge like proton and neutron. The quarks and gluons, they have one additional thing, like the positive and negative charge. And the colors, yes, they are identified by redness, greenness, and blueness. So I'm very sure that this is what you have heard for probably, if you are not very keen on astronomy, you have heard for the first time. So to sum it up, what we understand so far, that Higgs field, it provides energy. Okay, energy is fundamental. It is not force. Please don't ever confuse energy with force. I remember one of my students, she used to keep confusing, always used to get confused between energy and force. Energy is the ability to do work, and force is something, in the simplest of language, I would say, push or pull. You're sitting on a chair is pushing you, you are pushing chair. Interesting. You're walking, that's also force, friction, force, all these things. Energy is different, never get confused. So Higgs field is a field of energy, all right, and that provides mass to the fundamental particle, which probably will explain dark matter in future. Like we will able to understand in simpler language, like we will have a bigger crowd, not just scientists, we'll have more people who will understand that what exactly the dark matter is made up of. As you know, the dark matter is something which we don't know yet. So we will be finding answers about that. So, it was not very far. The God's particle, the particle of faith, from that we get the particles of mass, and we can explain, we can understand mass. We can also understand that it's not just about the atoms anymore. It is about more. There is subdivision of protons and neutrons, quarks and gluons, and which is not just about the charges. It is also about the color. That's how we explain the quarks and gluons. Isn't it interesting? I loved it. I loved this when I was, preparing the content for this particular episode of the podcast. I love doing it already, but I would, I'm sure that you enjoyed that too. So please keep in touch with me. on abhilashapodcast@gmail.com. Yes, I am waiting for that. And yes, have fun, guys. Have fun. Be your own guru. No one should stop you. Thank you so much for listening. Come back again next week. Bye.